by 6,000 years ago, we see ancient Sumer emerging as a civilization. In Mesopotamia, it's 7 sages, 7 Apkallu, who come out of the waters of the Persian Gulf and teach people all the skills of agriculture and of architecture and of astronomy. It's found all around the world.
The city buried before Babylon that history refuses to acknowledge. Well, long before Babylon became an iconic, another city held that title. A place so ancient that Babylonians themselves saw it as a relic from a forgotten age. This is the shocking truth about Eridu, a city that was almost entirely erased from history. For thousands of years, its location had been a mystery buried under the sands of southern Iraq. But what was uncovered there completely rewrites the first chapter of cities and challenges everything we ever thought we knew about history. When you think about the Mesopotamia, you think of Babylon. It's the city of epic walls and the laws of Hammurabi. Babylon hit its peak in the 2nd millennium BCE, becoming the capital of a massive empire and the center of the world. But here's the part that changes everything. Babylon wasn't the beginning. Thousands of years before Babylon was a superpower, a whole network of cities thrived along Tigris and also Euphrates. Cities like Ur and especially Uruk, in which scholars consider the world's first true metropolis, were ancient when Babylon was just a small town. But one city was older than them all, a place that Mesopotamian traditions called the very first city on earth. The city is Eridu. Founded during the Ubaid period around 5400 BCE, it predates Babylon's glory over 3,000 years. It's older than the first pyramids in Egypt and older than the Stonehenge. Its existence makes you wonder, why does Babylon get all the credit while the real cradle of the urban life was left buried and forgotten? For centuries, Eridu was just a name in ancient texts, just like the Sumerian king list, which claimed it was where kingship first came down from heaven. Its physical location was a mystery to the Western world until the mid-19th century. In 1855, a British official named John George Taylor was sent to check out some lonely mounds in the Iraqi desert known as Tel Abu Shahrin. He was not impressed. Taylor was looking for grand palaces and treasure, but what he found were bits of mud brick walls, some drains, and decorative cones. Well, he called the expedition unproductive, not knowing that he was standing right on the ruins of one of the planet's oldest cities. It took almost hundreds of years until 1946 for archaeologists Fraud Safar and Seton Lloyd to realize what Taylor had missed. They started digging into the main mound. Layer by layer, they went back in time. At the bottom, they hit the city's origin. They found not just a city, but a time capsule. Right at the heart of the mound, they found something incredible, a simple shrine that had been deliberately rebuilt on the exact same spot. Bigger and better, 18 times over thousands of years. As far as they can tell, the first one was built on a clean sand dune, with no signs of anyone living there before. The excavations at Eridu revealed something extraordinary. This was one of the earliest examples of the idea of building a city around a house for a god. That god was Enki, the Sumerian deity of fresh water, wisdom, and magic. According to the myth, Enki himself founded Eridu, which was seen as a gateway to the Abzu, a mythical freshwater ocean beneath the earth. This sacred link between a city and its god became a defining feature of the Mesopotamian civilization, and it all started right here. This status is locked in the Sumerian king list, an ancient text that mixes myth and history. It opens by saying, after the kingship descended from heaven, the kingship was in Eridu. It names 2 mythical kings who ruled from Eridu for tens of thousands of years before a great flood swept the land. While the reigns are mythical, they show a deep cultural truth for the ancient Sumerians. Civilization itself began at Eridu. It wasn't just old, it was their starting point, the divine birthplace of society. But why build a city here, on a sand dune in a harsh landscape? Well, the answer is water. Eridu was built near the marshes at the edge of the Persian Gulf and the Euphrates River. Recent studies using satellite imagery have found a huge, well-preserved network of ancient canals all around the site. Eridu wasn't just a city, it was an engineered landscape, thriving by controlling water for farming. This mastery over the environment is reflected in their worship of Enki, the god of fresh water. Well, this leads to another mystery. Ancient texts like the Eridu Genesis talk about a time before a great flood, with Eridu as its first of 5 ancient cities, when the archaeologist Leonard Woolley excavated the nearby city of Ur. He found a thick layer of silt that he famously claimed was the biblical flood. While it was a massive local river flood, not a global one, it shows that catastrophic floods were burned into the region's memory. So if Eridu was first, why is Babylon so famous? It's the difference between cultural starting points and a military empire. Eridu's power was its legacy. It was a religious center that created the blueprint for how to build a city in Mesopotamia. A temple at its heart, a patron god, and total control of water. Babylon came much later. It rose as a political and military beast, creating an empire under Hammurabi in the 18th century BCE. Babylon's fame came from conquest laws, a massive building designed to intimidate. It didn't invent Mesopotamian civilization, it inherited it, and it puts its own stamp on it. By the time Babylon was at its peak, Eridu was already an ancient ruin, a myth. The story of civilization doesn't start with Babylon. It's a deep and mysterious web. And Eridu is its first thread. For thousands of years, it has waited under the desert, proof that our history is far older than we know it. It wasn't ignored because of its conspiracy. It was just overshadowed by the empires it helped create. The rediscovery of Eridu reminds us that what we know is just a tiny piece of the real story, and it leaves one massive question. How many other Eridus are still out there? How many other Eridus are still out there, waiting to rewrite history all over again?
Even more astonishing are the Babylonians' discoveries in the heavens. The priests of Babylon were also astronomers, carefully charting the movements of planets and stars on clay tablets. They predicted eclipses, tracked Jupiter's cycle, and divided time with a precision that seems centuries ahead of its age. In 2016, researchers analyzing ancient texts made a groundbreaking revelation. Babylonians used sophisticated geometric methods to calculate planetary motion, techniques once thought to have been invented by Greek scholars 1,000 years later. How did they acquire such knowledge? Did they stumble upon lost mathematical concepts? Or was there an unbroken chain of wisdom passed down through forgotten civilizations? Their understanding of the cosmos still leaves us in awe and in mystery. And then comes the haunting question of Babylon's downfall. In 539 BCE, the mighty city collapsed to Cyrus the Great of Persia, seemingly overnight. Accounts describe how the invaders entered without a fight, as if the city itself had opened its gates. How could such a powerful empire fall so quickly? Was it betrayal by Babylon's own people, weary of their rulers? A political coup disguised as conquest? Or simply a masterstroke of Persian strategy, diverting the Euphrates River to march into the city by its dry riverbed? Historians still debate the truth, but what is certain is this: Babylon, once the greatest city in the world, fell almost without a sound. Even now, modern excavations continue to peel back layers of its enigma. Tablets uncovered in recent years reveal fragments of medical texts describing treatments for disease with both ritual and empirical methods, suggesting Babylonian medicine was more advanced than once believed. Other tablets detail intricate economic systems, contracts, and trade routes, evidence of a society whose reach stretched across continents. Each new discovery deepens the mystery, painting a picture of a civilization at once familiar and utterly alien. But the tragedy is that so much of Babylon remains hidden, or worse, lost forever. Looting, war, and neglect have scarred the ruins. Political turmoil has delayed excavations. Parts of the site were even reconstructed in the 20th century in ways that damaged the original foundations. Babylon resists full understanding because we cannot yet see it whole. What remains is a mosaic of fragments, each piece hinting at a greater truth we may never fully assemble. And that is why Babylon continues to captivate us. It was a city of wonders, yes, but also a city of contradictions, of myths woven into history, and history swallowed by myth. A place where law may have been more performance than practice, where gardens may have existed only in story, where towers may have reached both sky and imagination. 4,000 years later, its secrets endure not because they are unsolvable, but because they remind us of the limits of our own knowledge. Babylon asks questions that we, with all our modern tools, still cannot answer. Perhaps that is why it remains eternal. The desert may have reclaimed its bricks, the rivers may have shifted, but Babylon's riddles still echo across time, daring us to keep searching and reminding us that some civilizations are too vast, too layered, and too extraordinary to ever be fully understood. The mysteries of ancient Babylon have baffled historians for over 4,000 years, leaving us with more questions than answers. Yet recent findings suggest that Babylon may still be holding secrets no one ever suspected.